The Wheatland Cafe is brought to you in part by the Sask Energy Network and by Continental Factory Direct.
And welcome to another edition of the Wheatland Cafe. And today we have a guest with us from Saskatoon, Jerry Christian. You're the owner of Jerry's Food Emporium. They make incredible gelatos and ice creams. And so Jerry has come here to share one of his desserts.
Fantastic. Thank you very much for having us. Today we're going to be making a Jerry's Sweet and Cherry.
And this is kind of like I'm liking this almost to a 1930s baked Alaska.
Absolutely. It's a classic with a local flair to it.
Yes. And I love the fact that you guys use a lot of local in your cooking.
We try and use as much as possible in the gelatos and the ice creams, as much local fruit from strawberries and blueberries, raspberries, of course, Saskatoon berries, and the cherries.
Well, here we have the beginnings of this dessert, which is a base, which is a angel food cake that you've not baked in a big angel food cake pan, but in a sheet pan, it looks like.
Correct. And then we made nice circles to fit to go with the scoop of gelato.
Just like with a really big, and then with a big cookie cutter, rather, you would use. And then you've got, looks like cherry or strawberry or some amazing on here.
This is a generous scoop of our Saskatchewan-grown sour cherry gelato.
Oh, it's so good.
The cherries are grown just north of Saskatoon. We buy them, we turn them into a fantastic gelato, and they're now available here in Regina.
So here we are. We're going to get started with the recipe. This is one of the easiest recipes that we've done on the show. And so Jerry's got some ingredients in here. So why don't you tell everybody what you've got?
All right, we're going to make a meringue to coat our gelato and shortcake. And we're going to start with 4 egg whites. And then we're also going to be adding sugar to it and some vanilla.
So how much sugar then do we add?
We're going to add to our 4 egg whites half a cup of sugar and 1 teaspoon of vanilla. Right,
so what we want to do then, I guess, is get this a little bit foamy, and then we're going to add in the sugar very gradually.
Absolutely.
And end with some vanilla. So I'm going to let you add that.
Thank you very much.
There. And you know, we've done a meringue before on the show, Jerry, and viewers know that it's going to take you between 5 and 7 minutes to properly make this. We're going to speed it up a little bit here on the show. We have one that's already made, but you know, you kind of get the idea. You're looking for a nice stiff meringue.
Correct.
And then we're going to have some fun here using a torch and
well, I think most people have a torch handy in their kitchen or in their shop.
Well, certainly if you live on a farm, surely your husband's got one hanging around somewhere. No, or maybe you.
But if you don't have a torch, set the oven to 450 degrees and set it on a cookie sheet, put it into the oven, it will nicely brown it.
Right, so we're going to add in a half a cup of sugar, then Jerry will add in a teaspoon of vanilla. But let's move along here, Jerry, because I want to make sure that viewers get a chance to see this. So what do you do next?
Well, we're going to take our meringue, which is wonderfully stiffened, and we're going to coat our gelato. Now, the important thing here is that we have enough of a coating on our gelato to properly insulate it. So when it goes either under the torch or it goes in the oven, that it's not going to melt the ice cream. So it will torch, it will nicely toast, but not melt.
This looks really good. I've always wondered how they did this. You know, like how do you do it so that the ice cream doesn't melt under this hot Alaska? I think that's what makes it such an interesting dessert.
Well, everybody, you know, always says or thinks ice cream has to be kept cold. Yes, it does, but it can be married with heat.
Now, at Jerry's, it's not just an ice cream place, right? It's also, you guys have breakfast, lunch, and dinner.
Yeah, we certainly have a full menu from, you know, homemade fish and chips, fresh battered. We cut our own fries. We're trying to buy the local potatoes that we can. Thank you very much. And we bake our own buns. You know what? We enjoy
did we get
a bit of the passion. I think we did.
In the front there too. So Jerry has brought with him his own propane torch, And propane torches are great. I mean, you see them used for creme brulee and things like that. So Jerry basically is going to torch it and get it going, and that's going to toast the outside, just really nicely. Viewers can see that a little bit as we kind of turn it, but you can see that it's already basically bruleeing. So we're going to continue to completely burn the outside, sort of caramelize the sugars in the meringue. And we're going to put up a menu board right now of where Jerry's is located in Saskatoon and their website address. And when we come back, I am going to dig into this.
Perfect.
All right, so there you can see that it's really nice and golden brown on the outside.
Absolutely.
Can we get a close-up? Oh my goodness, look at that. That looks fabulous. All right, so why don't you give me a taste of that? So you would just cut this in half. Oh, look how beautifully that goes through, eh?
Yes.
One thing I know from my previous conversations with you, Jerry, is that you do something called tempering ice cream. What exactly does that mean,
well, we take our ice cream pretty serious. And in a way, ice cream is also like drinking wine in that you want to have it at the correct temperature. You don't want to eat your ice cream or enjoy it too cold. Not enough of the flavor will come out. So you let your ice cream temper or warm a little bit so it's scoopable, very scoopable, and more of the flavor will come out in your mouth.
And it is true, it does make a difference because I've tried your ice cream really, really cold and I've tried it tempered and it was completely different.
Yes.
Now, this is fantastic. This has got the beautiful cold ice cream, the cake, and then it tastes almost like a hot marshmallow on a fire.
Absolutely.
Well, thanks very much for coming in.
Thank you very much.
And we forgot, you can even gild the lily here by, well, just before we go, we'll squirt on some caramel sauce and we'll end with that.
And one last thing, if people are lactose intolerant, they can also use our raspberry sorbet made from Saskatchewan raspberries because there's no dairy in a proper sorbet that we make or in the meringue.
All right. And we'll see you next week.
Thank you.
The Wheatland Cafe is brought to you in part by the Sask Energy Network and by Continental Factory Direct.